The bigger the cushion, the sweeter the pushing. That's what I said. The looser the waistband, the deeper the quicksand, or so I have read. My baby fits me like a flesh tuxedo. I wanna sink her with my pink torpedo. Big bottom, talk about bum cakes, my girl's got 'em. Big bottom, drive me out of my mind. How can I leave this behind? I met her on Monday, 'twas my lucky Monday, you know what I mean. I love her each weekday, each velvety cheek day, you know what I mean. My love gun's loaded and she's in my sights. Big game is waiting there inside her tights, yeah. Big bottom, talk about mud flaps, my girl's got 'em. Big bottom, drive me out of my mind. How can I leave this behind? My baby fits me like a flesh tuxedo. I wanna sink her with my pink torpedo. Big bottom, talk about bum cakes, my girl's got 'em. Big bottom, drive me out of my mind. How could I leave this behind?
What the? Okay.
Oh, God.
Well, welcome to the Blackdog number 98.
Yeah.
98. Which
that went down the wrong hole.
Did that go down the wrong hole?
It went down the wrong hole.
Shall we? Is that what we should call the cast?
I think we should do. Yeah, that went down the wrong hole.
I was going to call it None More Blackdog, but I might call it.
Blackdog, yes.
But now I might call it Darren's Memorial Cast when I fucking look at it.
It's the last one I'll be doing, I'll tell you that now.
Fair enough.
Next week it'll be Lee and a packet of cheese
Rizzlers
biscuits.
Yeah, well.
There you go.
Well, okay, fair enough. I was going to say, if you would rather have Darren and the Cheese Rizzlers exchanged, please write into Blackdog at Geek Planet Online and I'll see what I can do.
Far more interesting week they've had.
Yes, exactly. So, hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Hello everybody's peeps. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
And yes, in case you hadn't guessed from the non-parody of a parody song, we will be doing This is Spinal Tap for Roasting Its Specs this week.
Yes, we certainly will.
We have a Mel Smith Moment of the Week.
Yes.
And we have a small but interesting segment called Swearing with Tiann Ross, which will allow you to experience the finer things in swearing if you're South African.
If you happen to be taking any Afrikaans lessons, this will be particularly of some use to you.
Yes, obviously. Don't wobble that.
No, I won't. I'll get my arm off of there because the whole thing looked like I was going to crash into the ground for a minute.
Though there will be no Joss Ackland diplomatic immunity gags off the back of that.
No.
Right, anyway. So, yes, we're still on one mic, but don't worry, things are underway. I have two mics on the go, and they will be here soon.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. I was hoping they'd be here this week, but never mind.
But they're
And
not. As usual. Bloody typical.
Yeah, well, there you go. Can't be helped.
Can't be helped.
So, Darren, how was your week?
How was my week?
Yes.
Let's just have a moment of silence for my week, shall we? Because that's about all I can remember of it, really. My week. Well, I kind of had a bit of an embarrassing moment.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
shat yourself. didn't you?
No. In work, I had to check a load of desks in this one tiny little room. Right, it's got
Oh,
glass
God,
paneling
yeah.
around it. So I'm in this room, and I'm quite happily singing away to myself. I'm doing my interpretation of Alan Rickman singing all of today's fantastic hits.
Would you like to give us a demonstration of Alan Rickman singing one of our fantastic hits?
My impression's a bit crap, but it was like
Okay.
Firestarter and stuff
Go on.
like this. What else was it? It was Candle in the Wind, inspired by the what's his name, Thingy Cumberbatch, because he does. Yeah, the guy who plays Sherlock does some excellent impressions.
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbund. There we go, Cumberbund, whatever his name is. But he does a particularly good impression of Alan Rickman, and he does an impression of him singing Candle in the Wind.
Okay, go on then.
So if you can imagine, I'm singing away in the voice of Alan Rickman, or trying to,
Yes.
and thinking nobody can hear me.
Right.
And then I realised that the partition that separates me from the other side of the office actually had no glass in it.
No.
So everybody on the other side of the office could hear this strange noise coming from the other side of it.
And it seems to me...
It seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind. So he told you it was shit. But imagine Firestarter like that. You know? So there we go.
Okay, cool. And anything else?
Yes, of course. Something, of course, we both went to, which
Yes.
is Martin's birthday. So happy
Yes.
birthday, Mr.
Martin
Mr.
Jones.
Martin, Mr. Jonesy,
Yeah,
Mr. Jonesy.
Herr Jones, Dr.
Yes.
Jones.
And apparently, the book I bought him, which was
Yes.
the directory or whatever it was of famous people in animation,
Yes.
he actually found one of his mates in there.
Oh, right.
So there
But
you
he
go.
wasn't pissed off that he wasn't in
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, he wasn't bitter when
You
he
mean
texted me
so,
the.
So you mean he went looking, didn't he?
He
That's
went,
what
he
he
went
went
looking for himself.
Yeah,
Yes. So I
absolutely.
did send him that usual message of, well, maybe you'll be in an updated version there, sir. Lork Salordi and what have you.
Yeah, I got a text message from him saying thank you for the Alien Vault, but I think he was just checking up after the unpleasantness of that evening.
Oh, God, here we go.
No,
Right.
I'm not going to cover that.
No, not going to cover that. Yes,
we're
speed
just
swiftly on from that. There we go. We've sped swiftly on from it all evening, so let's just move on now.
We've done all right. Yes, we've done fine with that.
We've done all right, but yes.
Well, you
So,
can't not mention it. You have to say at least something happened. I mean, pretty much I think everyone knew something happened.
I know, but I'm just glad it's all over and everybody seems to be happy now.
Yes, we're so happy now. Star Maker.
Good. So there we go. That's
Anyway.
that elephant showing the front door now. There we go. The elephant that's been sitting in the
dealt
room.
with
There
it.
we go. We've dealt with it. We
dealt
moved
with it.
on now.
Moved
people.
on.
Moved on.
We moved
Yes.
on. See, it's easy done.
There
It's
you
easy
are.
done.
There you are.
All you need is a microphone, a timer, some 500 quid's worth of software, and we can sort these things out.
Tell you what though.
What?
Right?
What?
That hat I was wearing at Martin's.
Oh, what, your Russian tank commanders
Russian
thing?
tank commander
Yeah.
hat, the big fluffy fucking one.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the living room on Sunday morning, right? Sitting there playing Skyrim, as
Still
I normally
wearing
do.
it?
And no, it was like I felt a bit cold, so I thought let's try a little experiment. I put it on, and I didn't need anything after that. Suddenly, I was really warm.
Really?
I didn't need a coat or anything. Just put it on the head, and it's like the heat got sealed in and just distributed itself throughout the rest of my body.
In case you haven't seen the photographs on Facebook, because some of them were shared, but you might not be friends with the people who they were shared with.
I'll put one on the Blackdog group of me
Yeah,
looking like a
please.
complete and utter cunt in a
Yeah.
big furry.
It did look like your head was being molested by
Yeah.
an Ewok.
Yes, it did. It's shaking away. It's that fucking koala you were talking about a few weeks ago.
And well, I had the Marty McFly 2015 hat.
You had the gay disco hat.
Yes, well, actually, funny enough, a friend of mine who's going to Pride this year, Andy,
He wants to borrow it.
He does.
Oh man,
Yeah,
there,
so
you
he's
go.
gonna, so there you go. Yeah, the Marty McFly 2015 hat was I thought really good, and we've got it at work at the moment, and it's the thinking hat of awesomeness at
You're
the
thinking,
moment.
yeah, it's not like the choosing hat of Harry Potter and
No,
stuff.
no, it's when you're thinking, when you're doing when you're concepting, when you're
Yeah,
thinking
'cause it
ideas.
changes colour with
Yeah.
your thought processes.
Yeah, well, just so anyone know, if you haven't seen Back to the Future 2, and if not, why not? But
Yeah.
if But basically, it was a lenticular hat, and it had all these rainbow colours in it. And then basically, depending on how you viewed the hat, or even took a photograph of the hat, it looked completely different in every single shot.
Yes, it did. Different colours. Ooh,
It was like
many
I
different
had.
hats.
It was like I had the 2001 Stargate sticking out of my head.
Yeah, you spin your head fast enough, and we all kind of thought it was 2001.
All looked like Keir Dullea going, oh!
By the way, can I just say, because Lee has managed to purchase some fabulous sort of soundproof foam for the microphone. I'm looking at this, and it looks exactly like the set that Steve Tyler and Aerosmith used to film Don't Want to Miss a Thing. All I need is a little screen at the back there with a Bruce Willis on it and the ship and whatever, and that's it. We're well away.
It's good, isn't it?
It's excellent.
It's 10 acoustic foam boxes for £10 off of eBay.
Wow.
Look at that.
There you go.
If only I had something to actually put them in other than a plastic box, it'd probably be a lot more professional.
Well, we need a few more for the walls, actually. So,
I'm not putting them on the fucking wall.
No, nail it to the wall.
No.
No? Okay.
We are drinking tea, though. It is worth
Yes.
mentioning that we have been drinking for most of the evening Kronenbourg 1664, as supplied by Andy Pulistides' brother, Nicholas,
Yes.
who curried favour with me using beer to get a look around Cartoon Network. And if anyone else wants to give me beer to come and have a look around Cartoon Network, I'll perfectly happily take that.
He's a cheap bribe.
I am a cheap bribe.
Oh, yes, and I did actually go out with Andy on Friday as well.
Oh,
we
right.
met up in London
Okay.
on the Friday night and had a thoroughly good time, and he bought me beer.
See? So, obviously, the Pulistides family is good for beer, so go find him.
And obviously the members of the Blackdog production team here are cheap beer whores.
Yes, that we do anything for beer.
We will do anything for beer.
Including wearing fezzes and provocative skirts.
Well, I think
That's just me, then.
that's just you.
Oh, shit.
That's not in my fucking contract. Thanks very much.
What contract? My week, yeah, you can put it down. What do you
trying
want?
not to make a
use,
chinky- oh,
use
okay.
That, use that.
Okay, I
Use
should
that
put that
down
there. There we go.
There you go. My week has been pretty uneventful, though I am going to a pub quiz on Thursday, work pub quiz.
Work pub quiz. Is
Yeah.
it a general knowledge pub quiz, or is this a
Yeah.
media based?
It is. Well, no, I think it's general knowledge, and the host of the pub quiz is going to be one of the CNN sort of news anchors. So I don't know what kind of rubbish we're going to get.
So we'll have to shuffle the papers and stuff like
yeah,
this. And
exactly.
At
Well,
the
it's-
end, he'll be sitting there talking, looking as
Yeah.
if he's talking to someone.
But it's quite funny, and I'm kind of a little reticent to kind of confess this, but I'm sure everyone knows. But basically, we got on my sort of in my department. There's like 3 or 4 of us who are kind of like good friends who kind of like hang around together, even when we're not just trying to kill each other and do stuff at work.
Yeah.
But and we were all going to go to this pub quiz, but then one of them had to go off to a different team rather than, and he's like the Lando.
Oh.
And so then what we did was, to make him feel jealous, we've essentially assembled a team which is not necessarily going to be with a winning team, but let's just say it's going to be the most glamorous team. We basically emailed pretty much every pretty lady in the building and just said, "Do you want to be on our team? We'll buy the beers."
Oh, okay.
So I have no idea whether or not we'll win or not, but I think we will be the table that everyone wants to sit at.
What's that phrase?
Mm.
P
Mm.
F.
Mm. Where are you
Yeah.
going with this? What's that?
Sorry, I'm thinking pictures or shut the fuck up. That's it. Yeah. What's that phrase? I can't remember.
STFU.
That's it. Yeah. No, pictures or shut the fuck up.
Pixel STFU.
That's the one. Yes.
Well, after Thursday, I shall be posting up pictures.
Hey.
Because we might even be the winning team, and that would be really putting a stick in them. Right, Dan will get it right in the ear.
I can
Right.
take that.
Also, the other thing that is come up, we've got some stuff going on for the 100th episode, which may not actually make it to be made by the 100th episode.
I don't think it's going to get made by the 100th episode at all, but
Nevertheless, just be aware that there is something on the cards. But beyond that,
which I think this is going to ruin us. Because
yeah, Yeah, we're not going to say what we're going to do for the 100th. Basically, we were going to plan something for the 100th episode. We had someone who's going to help us. Unfortunately, that someone has had to go away for a couple of weeks, which means that we can't do it for episode 100. So, unfortunately, the episode 100 will end up being me and Darren going to a screening of Phantom Menace in 3D.
You went there, didn't you? Oh, no. We didn't pay for it.
Yeah, I will stress right now, we didn't pay for it. We were offered tickets by 20th Century Fox's press department.
Yep.
So we are going to it on Wednesday, the 8th of February, which would be the day after our 100th episode, but we'll be recording a pubcast then.
Actually, we might as well be honest about it. We were both in a pub earlier, and somebody handed us a coin and then smacked us over the back of the head, and that was it. It was shanghaied. You've accepted the king's coin.
Yeah.
You must go to a showing of the Phantom Menace in 3D.
No, never.
So we were press ganged.
Yeah. So,
fuck it, I'm not paying for it. I don't give a shit.
No, as long as we're not paying for it, I don't care. I mean, the way I see it is free popcorn and a show, but anyway.
We get a goodie bag.
I don't know, probably, because apparently the doors open at 5:30.
Yep.
But the film doesn't start till 6:30, and it says action in the foyer.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that means lots of people pretending to be Jedi while trying to pick up M&Ms out of the counter, or
which
or
cinema
what.
is it going to be?
I can't say, because obviously if I said that, lots of people would turn up.
Oh, okay, fine, yes.
But it is happening, and there will be lots of people there doing something. Or it could just be balloon animals.
It could be, yes.
I don't know.
I want a Wampa.
Well, Wanna Wampa, eh?
Want a Wampa.
Right.
Do you want a Wonga?
Do you want a Wonga? So that's it, really. Yes, I went to the same things you did. So we went to Jonesy's birthday.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, how did you get on with the Indian meal? I never got to ask you.
Well, that was the thing, you see. I was...
Because we had an Indian meal, just so everyone knows, and I enjoyed it immensely, and my ass paid for it in the rest of the week.
Well, you see, I started feeling like one of the persecuted few, you see, because I'm like, look, I don't like curries.
You don't
okay?
like curries.
I don't like curries,
No.
and the slightest tiny bit of spice burns me, right? Burns me like a witch tied to a stake in fucking Salem, right? Okay, I burn.
You burn
very
like
easily.
the heat of 1,000 suns.
I do. Slightest bit, that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly sitting there losing it, going, look, all right, I'm not a fucking freak. I don't like spicy fucking hot food. Understand me, people. So I discovered on the menu the monkfish.
Monkfish.
The monkfish.
Put your knickers on.
Number 200, number 285 in the Great Book of Aquatic Creatures, the monkfish.
Yes.
And so they made me a main meal out of that.
Yes, and
Lovely.
yes,
Smashing. Super stuff.
but that was part of the spicy starters.
No, it wasn't spicy.
No, but it wasn't spicy when I tried to get people to eat it, and I didn't. And I thought it was chicken.
No, it wasn't spicy
wasn't.
at all. So I had that lovely, nice bowl of rice to go with it. I was happy. Didn't
Yeah?
even finish it. I was out full by the end of it.
Yeah.
So great
Whereas
stuff.
I ate everything that was basically could fly, swim, walk, or bleat, and it was all tanduried up. And then I
stick some stuff on it.
And then sitting next to Herc, unfortunately, what happened was we both sat there and we looked at this sort of chart where you could make up your own curry, and we kind of
you can't
devised.
make up your own curry.
Yeah,
really?
so you can choose what meat you wanted, you can choose what sort of sauce you wanted, you can choose what
Wow.
vegetables and everything else, and we kind of like go through this Venn diagram flow chart thing, and. By the end of it, I kind of got to this thing. It's like choose your own adventure, and by the time I got to the end of it, it almost had in sort of like in Punjabi, "Oh my fucking god, you're going to die" at the bottom of it, and it's like, and I'm looking at it and thought, "Oh, I'll give that a go."
I've put the toilet rolls in the fridge, sir.
Exactly. Well, that's what I posted on Facebook the next day. It was like from hell's arse, I stab at thee. It's like that curry was like
wow.
the Mutara Nebula. By the end of it, I was like. I was Genesis, just burning up.
No, I personally couldn't eat any of that at
No.
all. Oh, I tried one thing.
You tried that rhubarb stuff.
There was something I can't remember what it was, but it burnt my lips like nobody's business because, as usual, somebody sitting nearby went, "Oh, try this. This isn't spicy." So I tried it, and as usual, my lips suddenly went. like
Yeah.
this. But they provided me with this drink that helped me out no end. It was a
Yeah.
yogurt mango drink.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Cured the problem completely. Because
Yeah.
I started gasping for milk.
Mm.
And he said, no, we've got some, we have to have some of this.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Because mango
Lovely.
and cream basically and yogurt take care of all of that stuff.
Killed it completely. So
Wow.
that was fine by me. That was no problem at all.
Excellent.
So yeah, my sort of like, experience at the Indian restaurant there was pretty good. And then they brought the bill out.
Yeah.
And then we almost all fell over fucking backwards. When we looked at the bill, it's like, Jesus, shit in hell, you know?
Well, see, the thing is, it was kind of a case of like splitting it up amongst a load of people, but obviously one person wasn't going to pay because it was their birthday.
Of course, yeah.
So-
No,
but then obviously the other problem was that you didn't eat anything.
it's like I had a packet of crisps. That was it. I had the big crisps and a starter, and that was it, with a bowl of rice. So I'm looking at her. I said, I didn't spend 45. I didn't eat 45 quid's worth of fucking food. What's going on here?
No, but our end of the table.
Yeah, I know you did. But anyway, that was covered. But that's not
Anyway.
a problem.
No, that was good.
That was good.
It was a good night all in all.
It was
but
good. We were looked after in the place as
It
well.
was
so-
lovely. Yeah, the Maharani in Brewer Street. If you want to go and get a decent curry,
But just beware, the stuff they bring to the table before the meal, you have to pay for.
yes, of course,
Yes, indeed. It's not just a freebie they bring along. No, these
You-
big crisps.
dude. It's an Indian restaurant. If people bring poppadoms, we already know. You're not telling anyone
I don't
anything.
know this, you see. This is
Okay.
like, I don't go
Okay.
in these places.
Okay.
I don't
Poppadom-
frequent
you-
these
you
homes
pay-
of
you-
iniquity.
You can pay for poppadoms. Is kind of how it works.
I like them. They're like big discos.
Yeah.
But
Fucking
discos, by the way, for our American friends, are like big round potato chips. So
from
you
the
need-
1970s.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you can either eat them, or if you throw them hard enough, you can actually behead someone with them. So there we go. A
Right.
job.
Okay, well, I was going to say, should we do the news? But it's all Oscar bollocks. Do you want to do the
No,
news?
there is 2 bits of news, but it's kind of spoilerish news. It's
Okay.
about the Avengers. 2 bits of spoiler news.
Well, okay, fair enough. So we shall do the news.
Yes. Hey, we're gonna hear some news now.
Right, okay, so the news. Let's get the first bit out of the way because this is the most sort of like boring. The Academy nominations were announced
Okie
for
dokies.
the Oscars. I'll be honest with you, I've not seen 90% of these films, and that's not because I'm just lazy, but because they don't interest me in the slightest. Lots of nominations for Moneyball, lots of nominations for The Artist, lots of nominations for Midnight in Paris.
Oh, hopefully we'll be going to see Ice soon. So
All right.
I will let you know.
So-
Let y'all know what it was like.
Yeah. The one notable sort of thing that I actually do agree with is for lead actor Gary Oldman is up for Tinker Tailor Soldier's Spy,
Ooh.
which is good. And Rooney Mara, who played
She's up for-
she's up for one for Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Oh,
in lead
excellent.
actress.
Did Daniel Craig get a look in there at all?
No, he did not.
Oh, that's a shame.
The one that kind of really throws me a bit, and this is probably because it's the only thing I could actually speak with any kind of authority on, is the special effects Oscar. If I can just scroll down a little bit. The visual effects Oscars. The nominations are Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Hugo, Real Steel, Transformers Dark Side of the Moon, or Dark of the Moon, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. What seems to be missing here, as far as I can tell, is Tintin.
Yes.
Because I would be honest with you and say that while, Real
Does
Steel was quite impressive,
Does Tintin come more under animation, though?
well, it's visual effects. It's the same as, it's no different
I
than,
suppose so, yeah.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. But, and it doesn't even, and then when I look down even further, it doesn't even feature in the animated film section, which is Cat in Paris, Chico and Rita, Kung Fu Panda 2, Puss in Boots, and Rango.
Kung Fu Panda 2 got in there and Tintin didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I say, I've not seen enough of these films to really kind of comment too much, but I'd be honest with you, that's it.
Yeah, we
sort
both
of
seen
speaks.
Tintin.
It speaks volumes about this. I mean, Tintin does get in there for a score for John Williams, but I'll be honest with you, Tintin just it just shows how boring 2011 was as a set of film, as a film year. That films like Drive didn't get in there, which I thought would get a nod. But anyway, so it's all very boring, and I actually got more interested in trying to work out what shade of brown was on the official website. For some reason, I just needed to know, and it was actually a lot more interesting than finding out all the nominations.
So you say Drive wasn't on there?
No, that only gets
Well, was
sound
Drive
edit.
Angry in there? I'm expecting Drive Angry to be in there.
I think you may find that tomorrow, when the Razzies are announced, that may feature quite highly.
Oh, I think so.
Though it will have strong competition with Transformers Dark of the Moon. Moving on, and this is where we wander into spoiler territory. So, ladies and gentlemen, be aware there are spoilers ahead.
There be spoilers.
Well, I say spoilers, but the thing is, at the moment, the pair of these comments, these news bits, are conjecture and rumour, and generally could be misleading. So whether or not they're actually genuine spoilers is still up for debate, because
we'll put them down as spoilers anyway, just to hedge our bets on this one.
So, just hold off for the next 10 minutes, okay?
Yes. Or 5 minutes,
5
actually.
minutes. Basically, the first spoiler is, or the first piece of news, comes from Jenny Agutter, who let slip that firstly she's going to be in the Avengers, but that wasn't the spoiler. The real spoiler comes from the fact that she said that she was on the same set with all these wonderful trailers as Captain America and Spider-Man. And immediately the internet pricked up its collective ears and went, Spider-Man. Because frankly, Spider-Man being in the Avengers would be an exceptionally cool thing. However,
here's the problem.
Universal and Marvel Studios themselves have the Avengers. But
Sony
has Spider-Man. And so the problem is, as long as that situation exists, I can't see them working together. And I think she just got confused, and it was a bit of a brain fart.
Do we think that the Spider-Man movie is shooting quite near, maybe on the same
It could be
lot?
shooting on the same lot. It could also be the fact that she just doesn't know her superheroes. And Spider-Man is a popular one, and she just grasped at it. Just said Spider-Man, Captain America, whatever. Because she could have...
Misdirection.
And speaking of misdirection, the second rumour is that basically...
Avengers again.
The Red Skull will not be in the Avengers. And the Skrulls, which has obviously been... or Krulls, whatever you want to call them... which has been rumoured over and over again to be the villains, because obviously we keep seeing shots of them, of the guys fighting nothing, effectively.
Yeah, mocap suits ahoy.
Ahoy. Apparently, they are not in it either. So, which leaves you with the question, who the fuck are they fighting? Now, I always go back to the fact that most of this Marvel universe in cinema has featured the work of the Ultimates version of all these characters, in which case, really, the one thing they do fight in their first incarnation is the Hulk.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
For pretty much most of that first sort of like origin story in the Ultimates. And that would be the only other explanation I could come up with. But nothing's been mentioned.
There are troops, there are actors dressed in mocap suits. That's the thing. There's too much going on. There's a spaceship, a crash-landed spaceship in one of the street scenes as well. What they may be doing, I'm thinking maybe, and this is probably quite a long shot, maybe ice giants. Because Loki
and the ice giants. I mean, it's possible. I mean, there's nothing to say that it won't just be a continuation of Thor, but I just don't see it. I just don't see that as being like a villain you could bring back. I mean, they were trapped effectively in the first place, and the whole point of Thor, which took a whole film, was them trying to break free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing. I don't think you can do that, and and Thor's quite handy with those guys anyway, so I don't see he needs any help. What the whole point is that the Avengers are assembled to deal with a threat that not one hero on his own can deal with.
It's going to be interesting to see what it is they've got. In that case, if this isn't actually the Skrulls, then what is it?
Exactly. There is a little bit of other news about Total Recall, the movie, which will be starring Colin Farrell and is currently being made at the moment.
Which is still set on Earth.
He's still set on Earth at the moment. And Len Wiseman, that genius behind the Underworld movies, is directing. And he's said that this film will be much more cerebral than the Arnold Schwarzenegger film, which, coming from Len Wiseman, is a bit like... it's a bit like Stephen Hawking saying that he's very good at running up and down the stairs. It's just like you could believe that given the chance it might be the case, but it's very, very unlikely.
Well, maybe he means when he says cerebral, because cerebral, brings to mind the fact you have to think about things. Well, maybe this is you really have to think about whether you really want to go and see it. Maybe that's the cerebral part of it.
Maybe.
There you go.
Yeah. He said there will be a few iconic moments from the original film. Examples thrown out by him in the interview were things like the Johnny Cab,
three-titted woman,
and various characters found on Mars.
The three-titted woman.
And I quote, he says, "Some of the moments are there. I couldn't do the film without having some of these guys in. As a fan of the original, I would have been disappointed if there weren't things in there from the first film. But I never like to copy moments, so there's shifts in perspective on some of those. I don't step on the ones from the original, but I have fun acknowledging that we all love some of those moments, and I do."
Triple boobage, get in.
Yes. Anyway, I can't be asked. I mean, I don't know what that film's going to be like, and to be quite honest,
I have absolutely no interest in going to see it.
I have no faith in that film. But there you go. But hey, what do we know? We're seeing Phantom Menace in 2 weeks.
Indeed. Again.
In
right. 3D.
In 3D. So that's about it, really, for the news. I mean, like I say, Oscars and everyone moaning about it kind of tends to be the dominating news force at the moment. So I suppose we better move on. Shall we do a Mel Smith moment of the week?
I think we should.
Brilliant. This week's Mel Smith moment of the week comes from Chris Lancaster. And Chris writes, "Whilst working in the Butlins for a few seasons in the mid-90s, I had several Mel Smith moments. During one shift on duty at the main gate, a Winnebago pulled up with a driver, claiming to be the driver of Mr. Blobby. I checked his ID and asked to search the vehicle, and true to his word, the Mr. Blobby costume was laying deflated on a couch. This was when the Mr. Blobby song was in the charts, so I was chatting with the fella and joked about the amount of money he must be earning. He told me he was travelling the country as Mr. Blobby and was earning an average wage. In fact, he was very quick to point out that the Mr. Blobby owner, Noel Edmonds, was the man making all the money. I informed him where he could park and which dressing room he could use, and off he went. Personally, I hate greedy bastards, so when a blue Rolls Royce drove up to the gates with Mr. Edmonds at the wheel, I was ready, and the exchange went something like this. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Butlins. How may I help you? I've got a show to do with Mr. Blobby. And you are? What? Who are you? Are you Mr. Blobby? Don't you know who I am? I know who you look like, but just because you look like someone, it doesn't mean I can let you in without seeing some ID. I'm not showing you any ID. It's a fucking holiday camp, not a prison. Sir, with all due respect, the IRA blew up Boots, the shop, and in town not so long ago, so security is tight because we don't want our patrons blown up on holiday. Are you saying I look like a terrorist? I'm saying I don't give a monkeys who you are. No ID equals no entry. Right, I've had enough of you. What's your name and who's your supervisor?
I'm the supervisor. I tell you what, I'll phone my manager and he can deal with you. At this point, I walked back to the ops room while Mr. Edmonds was swearing about jobs worth fuckwits. I picked up the phone, pretended to dial a number and had a non-existent chat with my manager. All the while, I stared at him and he glared back. I put the phone down and approached the Rolls Royce again. Sir, I have been informed to instruct you to show the ID. If you fail to present me with proper identification, then I shall be forced to search your car for explosive devices, followed by a personal strip search. Failure to comply will result in your arrest for trespassing on private property. Edmonds replied, But, what? Oh, for fuck's sake. He got out of the car, opened the boot, and rooted through his bags, finally securing his driver's license and handing it to me. I looked at the license, I looked at him, I looked back at the license. I then said, Well, that wasn't too difficult now, eh? Now, if you could open the bonnet and keep your boot open so I can check your car, please. At this point, you could almost see the steam coming out of his ears, and he decided to dig his heels in. Edmonds said, I don't know how to open the bonnet. I'm not a mechanic. I replied, Neither am I, sir, but I'm sure we can find it. Edmonds then replied, The show starts in 30 minutes. On your head be it if the show is delayed. I searched the car, which would normally take about 3 minutes. With my mirror and my torch, I went over every inch of that Rolls Royce. 15 minutes later, I handed him his ID and opened the gate, wishing him a good day with a great big shit-eating grin on my face. He tore off down the road, absolutely fuming. I was feeling satisfied at annoying the most famous bearded midget, but I was unfinished. I got on the radio and called for a mobile patrol, informing them that they were to find Mr. Noel Edmonds and tell him that if he broke the speed limit again, I would have him arrested, charged, and his permission to perform at Butlins would be revoked. And that is my Mel Smith moment of the week.
Beautiful and poetic. I'm
Absolutely.
sure you agree.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you very much for that, Chris. And yes, if anybody else has any Mel Smith moments of the week to send in, by all means send them into email them into blackdog@geekplanetonline.com. Yes, and if you do get a chance, anyone in the US who does not understand the cultural significance of Mr. Blobby, then I'm sure YouTube can help you on your way.
Oh yeah, but don't go into any of those links that say not safe for work, because that's a different Mr. Blobby. Okay, it's not the Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby's like this big pink bald figure with yellow spots on him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but Mrs. Blobby really should be avoided at all costs.
And Mr. Blobby hides these wobbly blobby
helmet.
That's not one to go for either.
Mr. Blobby hides his helmet. Yeah, that's not a war film. That's no. Right, okay, so before we go on to our rose tinted specs, when we asked for a review of the year a couple of weeks back, we got sent an email by Tiann Ross, who sent in his top 5 films and top 5 worst films, and one of the things he sent along was a MP3. Basically, when we read out his emails, he tries to swear at us using an Afrikaans swear word, and we basically cock it up every time trying to pronounce it. So I think the frustration got to him, and he decided to send the MP3 in to explain it. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't really heard it. I have no idea what it sounds like, and I'm not entirely sure, and with all due respect to Tiann, I have no idea how strong his accent is. Now, that all could be corrected, and that's no problem, and I'm not having a go at his accent or anything. I'm just saying that it could be, I used to work with a guy called Duncan Wallace, and his Afrikaans accent was so strong that he usually had to repeat himself 4 times.
Blimey.
But that's only because I'm partially deaf, I think, and stupid.
Aye?
What? What the fuck? Anyway, but anyway, I just leaving all those caveats there. Let's have Swearing in Afrikaans, Part 1 by Tiann Ross.
How's it, guys? This is Tiann Ross. As requested, here is how you swear in Afrikaans. Our first word is poes. Its translation is basically for pussy or cunt. Now, how do you use it in context? Favorite ways are: jy is a poes, meaning basically you're an idiot or basically a dumbass. Also, if you say jy is a pussy, means that you are a chicken or a scary cat. But the way it is used most is to insult somebody, usually his mother, by saying that your ma's a push, meaning your mother's pussy. And then there is dwis. It's basically used as the same context. You can say jy's a dwis, basically meaning you're also idiot or dumbass. And that's it. So, to be fair, next week we move away from lady parts to men parts, and the word is peel. And we learn why many South Africans still call Britain folk soutpieler, basically translating into salty dicks.
Right, well, thank you very much for that, Tiann.
Salty dicks.
Salty Dicks.
Isn't that like a snack by KP or something like that? Yeah,
Or a song by Isaac Hayes.
Oh, it's thank
Thank you for that, Tiann. And obviously, we have part 2. I won't listen to it, but I will play it next week. And we also have more sweary goodness on the horizon from someone else, but we will leave that for another day. Right, okay, well, thanks very much for that, Tiann. And, obviously, I hope you enjoyed the music we stuck behind your sound.
I think it was really
voice.
appropriate.
Did seem rather appropriate, so there you go. Right, I suppose we better get on and go rock! And,
Rock!
and do a bit of Spinal Tap roasting to specs.
Think back to the films you remember as good, ones you haven't viewed in a while. How the story rocked and the actors were great, the camera work had flair and style. What would happen now if you watched them today? Are they still as fresh as before? Or do they stink as bad as a piss-covered tramp and leave you screaming on the floor? You know it can be real sad. Find that special film is bad. Wish you just left it a pleasant memory. Now it's time for rose tinted specs on Blackdog. Watching movies from the past you thought were great. Yes, it's time for rose tinted specs on Blackdog. Send your feedback in and tell us how they rate.
Right, Spinal Tap, or rather, to give it its full title, this is Spinal Tap. Was released in 1984 and was directed by Rob Reiner. Starring Rob Reiner as Marty DeBurgi, Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, Harry Shearer, Fran Dresser, and Bruno Kirby, amongst many, many others. Lots of sort of cameos from people like, like Dana Carvey and
Angelica
Houston. And who's the other guy? Billy Crystal, yes.
Yep, in it as the mime.
Yeah, and Patrick McNee.
Yes. The Lord something or other, whatever his name was.
Anyway, it obviously follows the tales of a British rock band coming back, doing their comeback tour across America. The film was mostly ad-libbed, and it basically was thousands of hours of footage were recorded. And in fact, the first cut of the film ran to 4.5 hours long.
Jesus H.
Yes, the three core members of David St. Hubbins, Derek Smalls and Nigel Tufnell were basically all parodies on standard rock tropes. Nigel Tufnell, for example, was his name was derived from the fact that Eric Clapton had a really boring name, and Clapton was a place that was really quite boring, and so what they did was they decided to basically go for Nigel, which was as boring as Eric, and Tufnell Park instead of Clapton. So, but there you go. In 2002, this is Spinal Tap was deemed culturally and historically and aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. The film was generally responded to with a massive success, although some early screenings complained it was too shaky, and some people complained that they needed to get a new cameraman, completely missing the point. The film really got its success and cult following when it was released on VHS. The film actually, the budget of the film was $2.5 million. The box office it took back in the first year of its release was $4.7 million, which although not massive,
still made its money back.
Was made its money back. Yeah, did it very well. The film was praised by critics and other people, sort of audiences alike. Roger Ebert placed it in his top 10 films of 1984. The film holds a 96% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and various other sites like Newsweek called it a satire of documentary form itself, complete with perfectly faded clips from old TV shows of a band in its mod and flower child incarnations, perfectly realised. And yeah, when Reiner actually admits that when Spinal Tap came out, everybody thought it was a real band, and that was the reason that a lot of it went over a lot of people's heads. The movie was a little too close for home for some. Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, Dee Snider and Ozzy Osbourne all reported that, like Spinal Tap, they become lost in the confusing arena backstage hallways, and singer Tom Waits claimed that he cried upon the first viewing of seeing the film. Eddie Van Halen said that when he saw the film, everyone else in the room was laughing except him, because he couldn't work out why they just filmed a documentary about him. He said, his exact quote was, "Everything in the movie has happened to me. Why is it so funny?" When Docken's George Lynch saw the movie, he was said to have exclaimed, "That's us. They made a documentary about us." And similarly, the Glenn Danzig said to his former band, the Misfits, when seeing the film, "When I first saw this film, it was like, hey, this is the band." Pete Townsend on White City novel, on the 1985 album White City, a novel, the back cover describes Pete Fountain, a famous guitarist, visiting a title location, as seen by an old childhood friend. When Pete mentions this incident where a drummer complained that the caviar in the dressing room was the wrong viscosity for throwing, a friend noted, "This is Spinal Tap, is obviously a true story." And then he realised what the film was about. Lars Ulrich told a press conference that the whole tour with Guns N' Roses in 1992 was so Spinal Tap that actually the next album that came out was a Black album.
Ah, yes, because of that little bit about...
That's right, None More Black, yeah. Shortly after the tour started, Metallica's James Hetfield suffered third-degree burns on his arms after he stood too close to pyrotechnical devices. And earlier in the tour, backstage at the Freddie Mercury tribute show, Metallica met with Spinal Tap and discussed how their Black album was a homage to Spinal Tap's Smell the Glove. According to 1997 interview in Spin magazine with Aerosmith rhythm guitarist Brad Whitford, he said, "The first time Steve and I saw the film, he didn't see any humour in it. When the movie was released, Aerosmith's most recent album, Rockin' a Hard Place, depicted Stonehenge prominently on the front cover. It became a common insult for a pretentious band to be told that they were funnier than Spinal Tap. As George Lynch once put it, the more seriously a band took themselves, the more they resembled Spinal Tap. And after seeing a 1986 performance by British metal band Venom, singer Henry Rollins compared them to Spinal Tap. And so it goes on. There's loads and loads of references to this.
Yeah.
Empire magazine ranked Spinal Tap as 48 in its list of 500 greatest movies of all time. And Canadian heavy metal band Anvil, whose drummer was actually named Rob Reiner, has been called the real Spinal Tap, and based on their misadventures depicted in their documentary Anvil: The Story of Anvil.
I really want to see that.
Yeah.
I really want to get hold of a copy of that and watch it.
Yeah. And that's about it, really. The rest is just about the album being released. Yes, I'm sure there's lots of other facts and figures I can dig up, but let's not dwell on them too much. Darren, what did you think of This Is Spinal Tap?
Oh, I really love this movie. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, what I will say about it is, remembering it from last time, I don't think I watched it properly last time I saw it, because I remember it as being all right and being, funny, but not laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
And again, it's not, I'm not crying my eyes out with every line that comes out of these guys' mouths,
Yeah.
But it certainly did make me laugh at various points throughout the film, and I mean, actually did force a laugh from me. So, yeah, it is a funny movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say the problem I have the same problem with those kind of documentaries, a bit like The Office and things like that. You're kind of laughing at it inside, but you're kind of cringing because it does feel like this is based on some kind of reality that you're kind of going, oh God, I bet there's so many people who've seen this.
Well,
do this.
I thought it was actually, as the film goes on, it actually gets quite sad because of the way they slowly slide down the actual fucking ladder.
to their second billet to a puppet show.
Yeah. That bit where they go to perform at the Air Force Base, and in the middle of the set, you could hear the wireless guitar picks up the transmissions from the fucking air traffic controller. So what the fuck is going on? So
yeah,
stuff like that, and the bit where they're on stage, I think it's one of the first times you see them actually go off and do their thing on stage, and they're in the pods, and two of the pods open. And you've got Dave St. Hubbins and Nigel Tufnell out on stage, and you've got Derek Small stuck in the fucking cocoon. You've got this roadie making various attempts.
It's when he comes out, you see it in the background. He's got a flamethrower trying to set it on fire.
And that great bit where at the end of the song they revert back into the cocoons, just as Nigel's what's his name? It's not Nigel. Bloody Thingy Smalls. Derek Smalls comes out, and then he realises what's going on and tries to leap back into the cocoon just as it shuts around his arm. Fucking excellent stuff, and the whole the Stonehenge thing as well.
When they get the dwarves to come out, so at least they're in scale.
But it's he doesn't realise what's going on behind him, and it's when. It's when Tufnell turns round and realises what is going on and the size of the actual monument. And you just see him give that visible, what the fuck? So that look on his face is just priceless.
I like the line that follows it. It's like well, we did, how do you think it went? And he goes, how do you mean it fucking went? The only thing that was going to get crushed out there was a small Stonehenge by a bunch of dwarves.
There's no need to make a big thing of it. Well, it would have been better if you had made a big thing of it.
Speaking of Stonehenge, it's a common misconception, according to IMDb, that the Too Small Stonehenge disaster is a parody of Black Sabbath's oversized Stonehenge sets from the Born Again tour. Yeah. It is. This is impossible.
I'm glad I had my cup in front of me when you said that.
Yeah. Apparently, this is impossible because the Stonehenge that Spinal Tap used was obviously done in 1982.
Yeah.
The scene actually existed in 1982 when the film was being made, but the actual Black Sabbath film with the oversized version didn't exist until 1983. Just to kill the mood stone.
I'm gonna have to dig that out and have a look at this oversized Stonehenge. 'Cause that sounds absolutely fantastic.
Go on.
No, I was going to say I love the aspect about the sort of like the how dangerous it is to be a drummer in the band.
Well, the thing that really gets me is you sort of sit there and you're going, okay, right, fair enough. So they've lost a few drummers, but just after Nigel's like fucked off,
yeah,
and he's gone off. When you have this kind of talking heads bit with David St Hubbins or whatever it is, and he's sitting there and he goes, well, we won't miss him. We've had 37 members of this band so far.
37 members.
37 members. We can live without him. And it's like 37 members, and you kind of get this mutter of they're all drummers kind of thing in the back of your head. It's kind of like,
Well, with the DVD, on the inside it had a small, like it's a 1-page, like 2-page booklet thing, and in there it's got a list of all the drummers and how they died and how long they actually lived for. So it's a nice little touch. Oh, speaking of which, the opening for the DVD, if you've got, because I got the 2-disc special edition
with them going, oh, that's nice. Oh, it's flying overhead.
It's too far. Stop it. Make it come back.
It's going far away. Maybe it'll come back in a minute.
Oh yeah, but you don't want to have high definition because that will blow your eyeballs out. That will.
Yeah.
So that nicely produced.
Yeah. I have to say also, just another little fact I've just seen which made me laugh was Ozzy Osbourne said about the film that he was the only person who wasn't laughing because he thought it was a real documentary. which I can just imagine Ozzy going, why are you laughing? What the fuck? Anyway, I mean, I love this film. I'm